Go. Yeah.
Hello, happy Friday and welcome to episode 161 of OD and Chill, beaming into you across all the channels that you're on, the LinkedIns and Facebooks and TikToks of the world or whatever it might be. We're beaming in here from Melbourne, Australia at Overdose headquarters in the karaoke room at our studio here. I'm joined here by Simon, my counterpart here. We're the Shopify guys at Overdose and here today to run you through our Shopify Editions unboxing. So yeah, we've been lucky enough to spend the last couple of weeks going around some of our different offices and spending time with a lot of our clients and friends and partners, talking about all the great stuff that went on at Shopify Editions, which happened a few weeks ago over in Toronto. So welcome, Simon. It's great to be here. This is our finale of the roadshow for anyone who wasn't able to join us one of the face-to-face sessions. So welcome. Thanks for joining OD and Chill. We're going to jump in. We've got a bit of a deck to share with you today. We're going to try and keep it pretty chatty. Make sure you fire through your questions, whatever channel you're on, you can just pump them in and we'll answer them as we go. And off we go. All right. So now, look, I was actually lucky enough. I was actually able to head over to Toronto the other week, and Shopify did an in-person event for Editions, which was the first time they've done that with Editions, and so was lucky enough to spend a couple of days over there. And as you can see from the selfie, I got hit up by the Shopify CEO Toby there, who bailed me up. It was definitely that way, not the other way around. And so I got to spend some time over in Toronto, hearing from all the keynotes and all the stuff the Shopify team had to share, but also was lucky enough to just mingle with lots of other Shopify people from the ecosystem. And so for the start of today's presentation, what I thought I'd do is just go through, I guess, sort of some of the key takeaways I had from over in Toronto, and then you're going to hand over to Simon as well, who's then going to spend some time actually digging into all the features and things that were announced, and do a bit of a deep dive and hopefully share a few interesting things. So I think probably from my perspective, there were sort of four key areas that were that I really took away as being big ones in the Shopify ecosystem. The first one of those is extensibility. And so anyone who's already on Shopify and has been going through the process over the last year or so will know that extensibility is something that the Shopify checkout's moving towards now. I think how many stores would we have moved over to the new checkout now?
Be close to 50, I reckon. Fair few.
And we've gone through the journey there where it was probably when the Shopify checkout first moved to extensibility, it was a bit of work, and there was also it was fairly fresh, and there were a lot of things you couldn't do on it yet. But what we're seeing now is it's really starting to mature, and so extensibility means essentially able to build stuff on top of the platform without building out tech debt, without building things that are going to create an experience that feels like it's not part of the Shopify ecosystem. And I think what you're seeing when you jump onto a Shopify checkout now, you'll see things that are popping up there like address validation, like gift card, omni-channel functionality and stuff like that. And it doesn't feel like it's anything different to that organic checkout experience that Shopify is known for. One of the big things that was talked about at the Shopify Editions keynote was that extensibility is really not just exclusive to the checkout, and it's something they're pushing really hard across the whole platform. So the customer account section is sort of the next cab off the rank in terms of that customer experience part, but extensibility also lives within other areas of the platform like POS, where you can build apps and extensions, and there's a huge amount of room for innovation there. Also, the Shopify admin, we're building extensions, and you're starting to see more and more apps that have functionality built into the Shopify admin, and also apps like Shopify Flow as well. And also apps in general are able to build stuff that's much more organic with the platform. So yeah, like we're seeing use cases. You might have some others too, Simon, but I think like address validation on checkout, loyalty and gift card stuff. B2B, I know you're doing some really interesting stuff B2B in terms of extensibility on the account section that you might want to talk about. I think we'll cover that later.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, like I said, the POS stuff as well. There's so many people interested in moving across to POS now, and where the Shopify POS platform can't do what you need, there's a great opportunity to build stuff there. And I think we'll also start to see the app ecosystem really start to, get serious about building stuff for Shopify POS.
Yeah, and I think the other thing as well is that we're seeing so many apps enter that market built with extensibility in mind. So it makes it really easy to roll certain functionality out into your checkout, and hopefully soon with customer account extensibility coming out as well, you'll start to see app providers for things like your loyalty platforms and whatnot having pre-built extensibility apps that we can just plug in. So yeah, it makes the process of setting that up really seamless, which is great. And then we can focus on any custom business requirements that might be unique to your business, and building those out in a way that is in line with the framework of extensibility.
And account extensibility, I think I know we're definitely chomping at the bit to get that. When's it coming out? I think December's the latest date you've got.
Yeah, I keep chasing up Shopify. December is the word that I've got, which I'm counting on. So yeah, I think that's going to be really the tipping point that we'll start to see more merchants moving over to that new account system. We still see a lot about merchants on that classic one because you get access to the code and you can customize it. But the new customer account system is actually great, and I think personally it's a much better experience natively. It does everything that a customer would expect in a platform, but obviously at the moment the limitations around the fact you can't customize it. But with extensibility coming, that will no longer be an issue, and we'll start to see more people move over to that and unlock the benefits that come with that for things like store credit and the native subscriptions. And obviously you need to be using that to unlock the B2B functionality as well.
Yeah, no passwords for logging into the new accounts either. Which
yes, it's some people are a bit anti it, but from a customer perspective, it makes things a lot easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The next sort of thing off the other big thing, and I'd say this was probably almost, I've called it in the slide here, this year's favourite child. I think it's something that was a big focus of the Editions presentation was all the stuff that's happening with Shopify Markets, and I think that's really going to start to solve a lot more problems for businesses now, and a lot less businesses are going to need to have multiple Shopify stores to reach different markets. There's the screenshot here is something that's not quite released yet, but this is a preview of what the new markets dashboard in Shopify is going to look like. And to use Shopify's buzzword at the moment, unified, what it really shows is that everything is all being brought together from different functionality. So whereas markets and B2B and pods have all sort of sat as separate parts within the Shopify platform, you're now going to be able to manage different B2B catalogs and systems within each individual market. You're also going to be able to create different POS price lists within markets, and we're going to see that all really start to tie together. We're also seeing things like the ability to have multiple businesses within a Shopify instance was something that was talked about. We're still chasing a bit more detail on that, but just things that have sort of been roadblocks in the past, and I guess not provided the flexibility that a lot of businesses need. We're starting to see that now start to all get unlocked, and we see with this type of functionality, we're just seeing there's more and more flexibility and stuff that you can do, and while you still can't do absolutely everything, there's lots of configuration, and we're finding as we jump into this stuff, we're still learning on the fly a little bit with it because there's just so much capability and flexibility. Whereas 2 or 3 years ago when markets sort of first came out. There's one page of settings and a few tick boxes, and you can become an expert on it pretty quickly when there's only three boxes to tick. But it's really starting to build out now, and I think it's going to be a much more viable solution to really big enterprise global merchants moving forward.
I think as well, when we talk markets, people probably assume we're talking like the geographical markets. And I guess with this update, it's not so much the case now, is it? You've got your B2B experiences. You can have different catalogs and pricing for different retail outlets. So your actual physical stores and setting those up within markets as well. So it's a little bit of change in mindset that this is no longer just geographical based. It is also B2C versus B2B, and even getting more granular within those two spaces as well.
Yeah. The other thing too with this is that everything that you see within the dashboards in Shopify, pretty much everything has APIs to work with it these days. Whereas, probably a few years ago, often the APIs may not quite match what you can do within the Shopify dashboard and vice versa. But we're seeing as this stuff comes out that, there are all the APIs to go with it. And so, we've been doing some stuff recently just with like testing out, doing massive inventory files and price list files and stuff like that. And so even with markets, you can push through a massive price list update within a few seconds, and it responds really fast. And that's for enterprise businesses in particular. That's where it needs to be, because this stuff, it's great to have a nice interface for it, but it's not scalable to be managing all of this within Shopify if you've got ERPs or other platforms that need to talk to it. And the great thing is you can generally jump in, see how it works from the interface, and then someone who can read APIs can go and look at them and work out how it all matches up and build the functionality to go with it.
For the people that are tuning in as well, where do you feel like the best use cases for this new market structure are? That's a question to you.
To me? Yeah. To me? Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking the people in the crowd. Sorry, it is Friday. It's been a long week. I think really I think the things that have stopped people from using it are things like, it's often things like needing to pay out to a single bank account from each Shopify instance, being able to make it more flexible, potentially pay out to multiple bank accounts, being able to actually feed in custom inventory, custom locations, custom price lists, all that sort of stuff, just being able to do that at scale. I think that's the real key. And if you can unlock that, it just adds so much efficiency to your business. Like if you've got one integration of a warehouse into one instance of Shopify, it just makes it so much easier to manage. And some of the contextual publishing thing, which I'll go into in a minute, relating to B2B, but it also applies to markets. Like there's just so much you can do all within one place. And I'm sure there's people listening who run multiple Shopify stores, and they're still in a lot of times going and having to update the same content on 3, 4, 5, even 10 Shopify stores just to do a basic content update, and being able to not have to do that type of stuff anymore. Even not having to set up promotions multiple times. There's just so many things where, just day-to-day operations become quicker, and over a week, month, or a year, that just adds up so much and gives so much more time to do stuff. But as Simon said, I'd love if anyone has any questions or ideas or things they're interested in doing in markets, send them through on the chat. We'd love to talk about them. The next one's probably, I'd put it third in our list, but it's probably actually almost, I'd say it's almost number one at the forefront of our minds at the moment, because B2B is probably the biggest growth area in Shopify from our perspective at the moment. Actually, when I was putting this deck together, did a count of all of our active projects and worked out that about half of them now actually are all doing something with Shopify B2B, which looking back 18 months ago, most of the B2B stuff we did was pretty hacky on Shopify, and it wasn't really up there. In fact, even BigCommerce had the wood over Shopify for B2B for a while, which I don't think I say that about too many features ever. And so it's now at the point where, like, this is just a list that I put together off the top of my head of all the tools that we have at our disposal when we're building B2B stuff. So the out-of-the-box functionality is great. Like I said, you can jump in, play around with it. If you've got a Plus store, you can actually just go and have a look at how catalogs work and companies and that sort of stuff, and it's all there. There's the trade B2B theme, which again, something if you're interested in doing B2B, install it on your store and have a play around with it. And it just provides really good experience. And I'll jump in and show that in a minute, along with contextualized publishing. APIs, I've talked about that already, but also the way that Shopify Flow is tied into it as well, and the stuff you can do to automate some of your order processing stuff and change statuses and send invoices, all of that sort of stuff. There's really, just so much you can do within there. And it is something where I'm sitting on client meetings quite often and getting asked questions and just trying to work it out for myself a little bit sometimes, because it is new and there's so much you can do within there. The app ecosystem and ERP connectors are something that's starting to come now. And we're seeing, I think it's some of the Microsoft ERP platforms are starting to build connectors to push B2B price lists through to Shopify and stuff like that, which that's a big unlock for us. And then, there's just new features coming out all the time, like deposits at checkout was just dropped the other day. And we're finding that Shopify's really got their finger on the pulse with stuff like that and dropping out those features that B2B merchants are constantly looking for.
I think as well, if you just look at some of the clients that we've got at the moment or projects we've got with B2B, the size and scale of those businesses, you wouldn't 18 months ago have expected Shopify to be the right fit for them. And it just shows how far this space has come, and it's really now a serious contender.
No, absolutely. It really has gone from being, sort of a 2 or 3 out of 10 doing B2B on Shopify to really being an 8 or 9 out of 10 very, very quickly, which is, really exciting. And we're looking forward to having a few of our current projects live, because there'll be some, and I'm sure we're not the only ones who are going to just be dropping some great sites over the next 3 or 4 months that'll give a lot of other businesses confidence in using Shopify B2B. We've just got a couple of comments coming through. What have we got here? Christina has said, I'm interested to see how this will play out for brands that have different stores for B2B, B2C experience. I couldn't agree more with that. Like, I think the innovation piece is something where we're only just starting to see what people can do. I think everyone's being probably almost a little bit conservative with stuff at the moment, and we're certainly not trying to go and overcommit and be too crazy with the solutions we deliver. But there'll be some really interesting stuff start to happen in the space.
It's probably a good segue into your next slide with the contextual publishing demo as well. To showcase how you can run that single instance with different B2C and B2B experiences.
Absolutely. So I've got a little demo of trade theme here. So this is just spun up on one of my development stores. Like I said, the trade theme's a free theme that Shopify released a few months ago, and it's very similar to Dawn theme if you're familiar with Dawn, but it's got some features in it that are really specific to B2B merchants. So you think of a B2C experience, you've got a product page like this. You generally have people select one option, they'll choose how many they want, and then they'll add it to cart. That's the sort of the general standard experience. Think about B2B, and the experience is more about having people. You want people to be ordering lots of things. You want someone who's placing a B2B order to order 5 of each one of these variants. And so the trade theme has order form type functionality built in that really helps with encouraging that. And so if we just go here up the top in the Shopify theme editor, you'll see you've got these options here. You can choose B2B. You can also choose different markets as well that we've got set up on this store. And then you can actually edit content in the theme editor specifically for different types of customers. So you can see here, actually, we've already pre-configured in here, just the announcement bar at the top even. It now says, welcome to our B2B store. I was being very creative that day. And so you can create those different content, which is just useful for doing little bits of information and stuff as you're creating those different experiences. You can also now see down here, and I'll just go and I'll show you what I've done here. We've got a section called quick order list. And so, this is something we actually can go and, turn sections on and off based on different customer groups. So, if I go here, you'll see quick order list here. I can turn that off and then back under the back into the product information section. We've now got, turn back on the quantity picker and quantity selector. And now it's back to being the B2B experience. So yeah, we can save that and create those different experiences for different customer groups. And yeah, I think it's something that it allows you to keep that core functionality, so you're not having to manage completely different sites, but manage those key touch points so that they're different for the different groups. So yeah, it's something worth having a play around with. I think use sparingly, because I think if you go and customize every section in your theme, it can become a bit of a mess. But yeah, it's a really powerful tool. I think it's probably being underutilized a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people don't even know that feature of contextual publishing exists. If you don't really go into the theme customizer all that regularly, and you may even miss that drop down at the top. So yeah, if you are on a 2.0 theme and you're using markets, then yeah, you have this feature already built in and available to use.
Yeah, it's not exclusive to the trade theme. And
yeah.
And back to what I was talking about markets before, where they're going to move to that unified experience. So once that rolls out, you'll actually see in here, you'll actually have the ability where if we have B2B set up for Australia, it will have under Australia, you'll have the B2B and B2C experience, and then likewise for each different market there. So that whole structure is going to change a little bit there, which just gives even more flexibility. Probably the other thing, which the last thing just from my trip to Toronto that I really walked away, realizing is just how amazing the Shopify app ecosystem is, and how much innovation is happening, but also how much room there still is for innovation. And yeah, I think I came away from it with about 50 ideas for apps I probably wanted to build myself. It was that exciting hearing about the stuff that people are doing. And I think there's really a new wave of apps coming through. I've just put a few logos in here. None of it, we're not sponsored at all in this session today. I don't think we are anyway. But yeah, this is just sort of an example of the type of apps that are coming through. And so, yeah, like Discount Kit's a fantastic one that these guys have essentially built an app that provides access to all of the Shopify functions promotion capability. And so if you want to build custom promotions using Shopify functions, you need a developer to build that out custom. But because there's APIs for everything, apps like Discount Kit have gone in and they've essentially built this out as the APIs have become available. And so, yeah, building stuff like complex stacked discounts and targeted campaigns and
spend and save stuff,
loyalty, all of that type of stuff, you're able to just do it within that app. And yeah, we're using it even to demo what functions is capable of, because it's so customizable.
I think a lot of what these apps go to as well is giving more power back to the merchant to control this stuff, and not having to invest heavily in custom dev to set up stuff that the merchant ideally wants to be able to control themselves. So we can then focus as a development agency on the custom business needs that are unique to your business and building out solutions for that. And you get a much higher base level of functionality by incorporating some of these apps into your ecosystem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that segues on the next on the list is Gadget, which actually is something probably more relevant to developers. But there's platforms like this coming out where Gadget allows you to build, where we don't have to build custom apps, we can build them on a fully hosted platform without any DevOps type costs involved, which is, yeah, something really powerful. It means we're not having to build a couple of micro functions, have to do it on an AWS instance and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not as exciting to everyone, but it is an important thing to have in the ecosystem and really valuable. I put the submarine logo in here too, by Disco Labs, the Melbourne guys. That's another that type of tool also just shows the availability of truly enterprise tools in the ecosystem, and like what they're able to do with subscriptions and pre-orders and that type of stuff, and the level of the quality of product that they're able to build with using Shopify Polaris and bringing their years of expertise into it. There's stuff that can do this stuff so powerfully now, and yeah, it's so easy to recommend this stuff to our clients we work with, because it is truly good quality product. Order editing is another one which we're working with a lot. I know Ryan, our founder, he's got a bit of a bromance going with them, and that it's a truly fantastic platform that actually provides so much operational efficiency to to our clients. And I think that's the thing too, where you can create actual business efficiency by allowing people to edit their order after it's been placed is really, really powerful. And biscuits, I think you must be on a commission deal from biscuits.
Yeah,
and Gabby there.
I'm not, but I should be.
How many people did you sell it to in Auckland?
A few. I'll have to speak to Gabby about that.
Yeah.
Biscuits is a really powerful bundle builder app that's new into the market. So Shopify released their own native bundles app probably 12 months ago or so now. It's great for what it does. It's pretty rudimentary. So for businesses that have more configurable type bundles and they want to have optional add-ons to bundles as well, this is where Biscuits is really powerful. And it's been built by developers that really understand the Shopify ecosystem and what we as dev agencies and also merchants want from their apps. So for us, why it's great in particular is that we have the ability to also customize the JS and the CSS so it can be styled in line with your brand. So it doesn't even look like an app. Historically, a lot of these bundle builder apps, they've been sort of hacky solutions that you haven't really been able to customize, and you can sort of tell if you've got a bit of an idea, you can tell it's an app and it looks just not all that great. So having something like this that we can really control and stylize in your own brand is super powerful.
Yeah, and that's it. And I feel for the people who built the first generation of things like bundle builders and subscriptions and all that stuff on Shopify were doing it in such a confined environment. You had to be so creative to build that stuff. And there's stuff that nowadays, if you're starting from scratch, you've got such a better platform to build upon. And so these newcomers are building stuff, with the Shopify Polaris framework, all the GraphQL APIs and everything that they've got to work with now is just so much better. And it means that the products that come out are really good. So I just thought I'd touch on a couple of other little things that came up as well. Something that hasn't been talked about a huge amount, but one of the things that a lot of people, particularly those that are a fan of headless, might have seen is that Shopify announced a WYSIWYG or visual editor for Hydrogen, which was called Utopia. And it was quite interesting to see. And I described it a little bit almost like a sort of Microsoft Paint type editor for running a headless site, which is probably a little bit harsh of me. But it's got lots of, as you can see from the sort of the video demo here, it's got lots of drag and drop font editors, all that stuff all within there. And I think it's really interesting, but probably not at a point where it actually would be useful for too many merchants yet. But I think with Hydrogen, probably what it symbolizes is that, it's something that's probably bubbling away a little bit. And I think we'll start to see some really interesting use cases for, headless on Shopify using Hydrogen Oxygen soon. And there's things just like improvements to the way the cart reacts, just the ability to do B2B and markets within Hydrogen quite easily, and just the developer experience in general is really is really starting to come to the fore. And I think people forget too that Shopify have actually done a really amazing thing with their Oxygen part of Hydrogen, which essentially means that if you are building a headless experience, you can host it all on Oxygen, and then you don't need to host it through a Vercel or a third-party service. And that's a free thing that you get within your Shopify Plus instance. So I think that's something that's probably been underutilized a bit, and I'm really interested to see the types of headless experiences that come across our desk, but also that other people are doing out there. And we'll see how it evolves over the next little while. Now, I've said at the top here, every deck needs an AI slide, and every announcement, presentation needs an AI section. But there is some interesting stuff happening here within Shopify. Shopify Magic's been around for a little while, and it's starting to get some new types of things pop up. I've got a couple of examples on here. If you jump into your image editor in Shopify, you can actually use this tool to go and choose a different background for your image, which is worth jumping in and having a play around with. It's not necessarily scalable and something that everyone will use all that much, but you can jump into your product images, turn it into a Christmas image, and it'll put a Santa hat on, or put put some snow in the background or whatever. It's pretty cool. But probably the big one out of these is the little screenshot I've got there is the query builder within the customer dashboard in Shopify. So you can actually build really intuitive queries there if you're trying to build customer segments or find groups of customers to tag or add to marketing lists and stuff like that, and definitely something worth jumping in and having a look at. And then the big one on the right here is the dev assistant. So that's something that I think I've got it. I'll try bringing up the link for it. I didn't prepare this one for today, so we'll see what the last thing I've. So this is a tool that you can essentially type in commands and it will tell you how to find certain data using the Shopify API. So it's actually been really useful for people like Simon and I who aren't really developers, but have to help our developers out and solve problems. And you can actually ask it to provide query information. So if you want to find all the products that don't have images, so let's which is something we often have to do. I haven't actually run this query before, so we'll see if it does provide a response, but I think it will. There you go. So now it's written a query here, which will fetch the first 50 products in my store that don't contain an image. And so I think that will work. So it is a little hit. I've had a couple of things on there where it's given some clunky results. It's like anything AI, you need to check it and it won't be perfect all the time. But it's really helpful for this type of thing. And you combine it with the GraphQL Explorer app that Shopify provide, and you can copy stuff across there and have a play around. And I definitely feel more like a back-end developer than I ever have before, which doesn't mean I'm anywhere near being a back-end developer, but it's fun and becoming more useful, all this AI stuff. All right. Now I'm going to throw to you, Simon.
Cool.
People are probably a bit sick of me talking, so I'm going to let you lead out for a bit and talk through some of the you really dove into all the features, and there's so much interesting stuff in there.
Yeah. So what I've sort of covered here is some stuff that we've known has been coming for a while, but as part of this editions has been announced that it's all now live. So some of the more interesting parts that have sort of been long awaited. Combined listings app's probably one that a lot of people would have heard about but aren't super familiar with what that does. So it's a free Shopify app that allows you to stitch separate products together on the front end. So if you've got products in different colorways, instead of having to have them as variants where you can't merchandise them all separately and have different images and content for each of them, have your products split out by colorway, separate products, and use the combined listings app to bring them all together. Now, to be fully transparent, we're not diving super head first into this. As with anything that Shopify releases new into the ecosystem, the way that they approach it, which I think is definitely the right way, is to release it as a MVP, which this definitely is for now. There are use cases for it, but I don't. I wouldn't be rushing to go change over to this if you've already got a custom solution in place, which for merchants that are existing clients of ours, then you most likely would already have something in place like that. But it's a really interesting space to be watching because the framework of what's been built there unlocks some really great opportunities for future improvements, which is something that Shopify have taken that approach to their search and discovery app that came out super MVP. There wasn't a huge amount of people using it at the start. It's really adapted and grown over the last 12 months. And we're even, dabbling in that now as well for a lot of clients with a smaller product range. So store credit, that is a really good one as well. I've had many merchants say to me, why doesn't Shopify have store credit? My old platform had this. So thankfully now we do have store credit and it's natively built into the platform. I'll bring up a little bit of a demo of how this looks as well within the back end. So you can see just how simple it is. One thing to note with this, like a lot of new updates that are tied to customer accounts, is that you need to be using the new customer account experience to be able to unlock this feature. So if we go in here, we'll go into Marty's customer record here. You'll see over on the right-hand side, we've got store credit block here, and you can see he's currently got 35 AUD of store credit. I might want to issue him another sort of $50 of store credit and add that to his account, and no expiration date. If you wanted to set that, you could as well. So we can add that there and credit that. Super simple. He's now got $85 in his account. Now, what that looks like on the front end is that when that customer goes through to the checkout, and this screenshot might be a little bit small for some people, depending on what device you're on, but on the checkout, there is now a checkbox that shows above the payment gateways. So it'll say apply store credit, will show you balance, and there's a tick box that allows you to either apply your store credit or don't apply. There's no partial application just yet, but again, I expect that to be a future improvement. And the use case for this is some merchants will, at the moment, they'll refund, and perhaps they don't want to do refunds back to the customer and instead do a store credit. And at the moment, they would be doing it by creating a gift card and issuing that to a merchant, which there's a lot of room for error there if your customer service team are not as familiar with the platform, or a lot of room for human error, which inevitably happens time to time. So yeah, having this store credit feature is super useful for that use case.
I'd say loyalty credit's the other one there as well. Like for a loyalty program, like it gets clunky using gift cards and stuff like that for it, and even just promotional stuff too. Like everyone's got the pop up on their site, $10 off your first order. Like rather than send them a discount code, you can actually automate it so that when they sign up for an account, you just apply the $10 credit to them, and then they can use it on their first order, and you set it with an expiry date or whatever, and it just works. So
then the mindset, the psychology of that as well is a lot better. Giving someone $10 store credit as opposed to a $10 discount code, as much as it is the same thing from a customer's perspective, it feels like you've got something tangible when you see the store credit in your account. If you're anything like me, I sign up for emails all the time, and my inbox is flooded with thousands of unread marketing emails that have probably got discount codes in them that I just don't know exist, or I forget about them. Whereas having the store credit visible in your checkout is really handy from a customer point of view. The other one is the third-party address autocomplete. So as part of the checkout extensibility, now you can hook in platforms like your address finder or locate to drive your autocomplete suggestions at checkout. This previously wasn't possible, so the native behavior was just pulling through from the Google Maps autocomplete suggestions. So some merchants that perhaps are running into issues with invalid addresses, you can easily plug into one of these platforms. They've both got public apps coming very soon, but they do have custom apps that we can help install for you with a few clicks of a button, and help eliminate some of those address errors, which can be quite problematic, particularly if your ERP has some strict rules around the validity of addresses. Site speed, I think this one was...
I stole a quote here, as you saw. Toby from Shopify bailed me up at the... Sorry, I shouldn't keep using that one. But one of the key things in Toby from Shopify was saying is, this quote, not all fast things are good, but all good things are fast. And it really resonated for me and made me think more about just like everyone thinks of site speed, and Core Web Vitals has been so topical the last couple of years, but really we should be thinking about speed at every part of the customer journey. So there is the site performance stuff, which I'll talk about in a second. I've got a couple of graphs there which I'll talk through, but I think picking the right apps and making sure they're fast, and making sure you don't pick too many of them, making sure you start your site off with a theme that's fast, making sure you don't clutter your checkout experience, which is harder to do with extensibility anyway. But making sure it also ties into providing good customer service and fulfilling orders quick. Like the key to conversion in e-commerce is fast, and so it's really changed our thinking, and it's a real focus for us at the moment, is making sure that everything we do for our clients, that we're trying to make it a faster customer experience, and also making sure we can deploy stuff quickly, making sure that we can be optimizing stuff all the time rather than just doing big pieces of work, because the e-commerce should be fast moving, it should be evolving, you should have access to new stuff when it comes out. And so that's really the mentality that I came back with from my time in Toronto. And it sort of ties in as well to what Shopify have made available here now in the dashboard. And if you go into your theme section in Shopify now, you'll see you can access this web performance dashboard. And so, this is something that if you've got a Shopify store, you should really be looking at every week. Just set a reminder in your calendar and go and have a look at it, or do it every time you deploy a new feature to your site. Check it a day later and see these insights, because you can actually go in and see the metrics on your store and see whether it's performing well in real time, essentially. So this is a day-by-day breakdown. This is showing it's showing real user visits over time. I think that graph actually is a loading speed graph, but you can also get the other core web vital metrics as well, so CLS and interaction to next page as well. So you can go in here and you can actually see, so with core web vitals, you have to wait 28 days essentially for your values to actually fully propagate. And so if you have rolled out some speed improvements to your site, or even worse, you've rolled out something that might have impacted your site negatively, you have to wait to really see that. Whereas you can jump in here and see your last few days, make sure that things are still trending in the right direction, or hopefully getting faster. And it's just a really great, useful health check type metric to be using.
I think as well, the other key takeaway here is as much as site speed is really important, and it needs to be an ongoing focus, that it's just as important to be focusing on improving the speed of other areas of your service for the customers as well. It's no good just having a super fast site if your customer service take a week to respond to emails and things like that. So looking at it holistically as well is super important.
Also, the other interesting thing that I've noticed from looking at this graph is usually when you see a spike here where there's potentially some more red on there, it's always generally because you've got more traffic coming to your site. So when you do big marketing campaigns, you're often bringing in more low value traffic, and maybe people who are on slower devices and stuff like that. And so the actual marketing behavior you're doing can impact that as well, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing and something to be aware of.
Cool. Checkout. So there's some really exciting updates here from a checkout perspective. One that, this sort of, well, at least for me, came a little bit out of the blue, was split shipping, which is a really exciting feature. And it's going to be some really great stuff come off the back of this. What this is effectively allowing you to give power to the merchant to be able to choose the speed and the shipping method in which they want for each product as part of their cart. So if you're on Shopify, or you've shopped on a Shopify checkout, you would have known that at the moment you can choose a single shipping method for your entire order. Now with split shipping, let's say you've got a cart of 5 products, you need one of those products urgently tomorrow for whatever reason, and the rest of them you're happy to pay or get the free standard shipping to get them a little bit later. So you can now choose, okay, I want express shipping and I'll pay the $10 to get that one express to me tomorrow. The other 4, I'm happy for you to send them out later down the track with my free shipping. So some really interesting stuff that will come off the back of this. At the moment, it works just with any static rates that you've got set up within the admin. It doesn't work with custom calculated rates, but expect that will become a future improvement as well. And this is obviously something that you can enable or disable and control the settings within it as the admin as well. So it's not just like this has suddenly become available and works on all of your Shopify checkouts. It's something that you need to enable. Checkout blocks. That's if you're on Shopify Plus and you haven't got checkout blocks installed, go and do it today. It's free. It's a no-code checkout extensibility app. So as a merchant, it gives you the power to go and set up things like a banner to call out if you've got shipping delays or do little upsells. Add additional custom fields into the checkout to capture certain data points that aren't native within the Shopify checkout. This has been the leader in the market for checkout extensibility for the last 12 months. And because of the sheer volume of people that were using it, because it was so great, Shopify have now acquired it. So it's free as part of your Shopify Plus contract. So you can go and install that for free and start using that straight away.
There's a really great one if you want to install it. And we often get asked to set up things like being able to modify your cart on the checkout. So if you install checkout blocks, it takes 5 minutes to go in and add a little link next to all your products so that you can, customers can modify the quantity, remove items, do whatever they want there. So there's just little things like that you can do straight away. You should just have it really. It's fantastic.
Yeah, the payment per fulfillment's another really interesting one. So now you can set up to do partial payment capture. So if you're doing multiple fulfillments of an order, you can set up your payment capture rules to capture payment when you fulfill the orders. So if you're doing, let's say, 2 fulfillments as part of the order, for example, a use case might be you've got a pre-order product as part of your cart. At the moment, particularly with pre-orders, you would be charging customers up front, and then they wear the brunt of having to wait however long it is before they receive that product. So you could now set it up to say, okay, you can place the order for the pre-order product, and we'll authorize your card to make sure you got the funds, but we won't actually take your funds until we fulfill the product. So it creates it reduces the friction for customers to order. Pre-orders that's just one example, but there's definitely other use cases for that as well. And then the last one is sort of referring back to the app ecosystem that we've been talking about quite a bit. That, as we've been saying, has really matured. We've always been a little bit hesitant when it comes to installing lots and lots of apps into the Shopify store, and by no means should you just suddenly go and install 30 apps, but the maturity and the reliability of the apps that are now entering the market is significantly better than what they were 18 plus months ago. You'll now see as well, if you go into your checkout customizer, you may even find that you've got apps on your store that have checkout extensibility blocks that you can just go and add straight away. So common use cases for this would be a loyalty program. So if you're running something like a Yotpo or a Loyalty Line, they've got app embeds that are available for point display and other things that you can just click and add into your checkout. You don't need to be a developer. You don't even need to be all that technical. Just add the block in, configure it and hit save, and then you've got that up and underway. So I recommend everyone should just about be over to checkout extensibility now. If you're on Plus, go out and have a look at your checkout and see what apps you can add in through app embeds.
If you're not, how many weeks have you
got? What are we? The 2nd of August. You got about 11 days.
I'm glad I haven't logged into any stores this week and seen the countdown.
Yeah.
If you're not seeing the countdown, you're all good.
Yeah.
POS.
Yeah. So this is a big focus for Shopify in general at the moment is their POS offering, and I think it's really accelerated into how useful it can be for a lot of merchants. So a lot of people still have the perception of Shopify POS as it's just for sort of mum and dad pop-up shops, but it's really grown over the last 12 to 18 months to a serious contender in the market. Some of the great features that have come out of this edition are both the ship to store and ship from store functionality. So ship to store is around allowing customers to create place a pickup order from the store that they want to pick up from, even if that store doesn't actually have the stock that they want to purchase. Let's say you've got it in another store a couple of kilometers away. If you allow for store transfers between those two stores, the customer can go, okay, I want to pick it up from the CBD location, and then you as the merchant can then transfer that stock from store A to store B, let the customer know when it's there, they go into the store and pick it up. So unlocking more inventory to become available to purchase online as a customer is a really powerful thing. And then ship from store is allowing or unlocking the ability for your retail locations to almost be like mini fulfillment centers. So if you've got the capability to be shipping product out of your stores to customers, then you can enable those stores to be fulfillment locations for your online orders. So again, all about unlocking the ability for customers to purchase inventory from any of your locations and working to what they expect in terms of where they want to pick it up from and how quickly they can get the product as well.
Yeah, I think POS is just another one where, just to use the same analogy I used before, the settings pages in POS now, instead of being a few tick boxes, there's just huge amount of settings and configuration in there now, and it just opens it up. And the thing to remember about POS as well is just the amount of stuff that you don't have to do custom, like omni-channel gift cards, omni-channel loyalty, displaying POS orders on the online store, all that stuff that just is such a pain and maybe keeps us in a job a little bit, to be honest, when we do have to build it. But it's not stuff we want to have a job doing. It's much better that if people have everything under one hood, it just makes life better for everyone, and most importantly creates a really great customer experience that allows brands to grow and focus on their marketing and product.
Yeah, and just unlocking that omni-channel experience with such ease as well is the key selling point. The amount of times where we've spoken to merchants that go, I want to do omni-channel gift cards, and you go, okay, what's your ERP? It's some really archaic system that's going to take hundreds and hundreds of hours to deliver a feature that should just be simple. And with Shopify POS, you can get stuff like that just out of the box. So if you're interested in Shopify POS, please reach out and have a chat, because I'm yet to hear someone rave about how they love their POS system, but I definitely do about Shopify POS. So
and apologies anyone from Shopify has heard us use the word omni-channel. I know they've retired that term and it's all about unified now. So sorry, we correct myself. I try and drink the Kool-Aid, but failed there. So. Yeah.
Cool. So we've got another second slide here about POS as well, which sort of goes to show just how much of the additions updates were focused around this, and it is a really core focus for Shopify at the moment. So there's some other interesting stuff around unifying the discount experience. So online and offline were detached previously, so you would have your discounts online. They wouldn't necessarily apply in store to your POS as well. You've now got the ability to choose if you have those running in store, which is super handy if you're doing things like a buy one, get one free offer. You can run that in store. Stackable discounts is another one that's been out on e-com for a while. That now can be used in store as well. So again, just creating that holistic experience between your online and in-store experience through Shopify POS. POS extensions, another really great one. So I've really been starting to dabble in this a little bit more over the more recent weeks. Some really great stuff out there already in the market for apps that work with POS extensions. But as well, we have the ability to custom build POS extensions for unique business needs as well. So if you're worried about, I really want to do this on my POS, I can't do it on my current POS, or I'm worried that Shopify doesn't have that natively, come to us. We can have a chat about what we can do from building a custom POS extension, because there's some really great stuff that you can do on that. I've just been playing around with something in the last couple of days of having creating like a digital membership card for like a loyalty program that you could go in store and have the staff scan that, and it brings up that customer's profile in the POS, and you can go and place an order from there. So that's just a very simple example of what you could do with extensions, but some really cool stuff that you can look at.
All right, we made it through the deck. Let's get rid of the deck now. I guess the question to finish up on is what's next, and we always try and pick out what things are going to come through in the next little while. I know we probably touched on a few of them already, but what's exciting you most?
Yeah, I think, there's some stuff that we do know is coming, confirmed on the roadmap. So account extensibility, which we touched on throughout this, that should hopefully be out in December. Multi-pass or single sign-on for B2B, that's another big one as well. It's definitely not a flashy thing or something that's going to excite too many people, but it's very important, particularly for enterprise businesses that want that extra security. There's speculation of what online store 3.0 might look like.
There was a bit of talk of that at Editions, and I think it, like, even 2.0 was a little bit of there's a little bit of myth to that, even in that it was just an upgrade really to the theme editor. It didn't completely change everything, but yeah, there's talk of the theme editor becoming more and more modular and having more repeatable blocks and stuff like that. And I think that'll just keep evolving rather than necessarily be a day where it's 3.0 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the stuff we should touch on, actually, some of the stuff we're doing in like building app theme extensions within the theme editor too, like like the breadcrumb stuff even that you've rolled out recently is pretty is a great way to build repeatable stuff.
Yeah, as well, if anyone's got any questions for us as well, feel free to drop them in the chat and we can answer those with the remaining time that we've got. But with the theme extensions, it goes back to the whole point around the framework that Shopify has set up for how you can build extensions. So there's ability for us now to build things into reusable modules that we can easily roll out across a multitude of stores. So we've built something with that. We had a breadcrumb snippet that we had built in Liquid that we'd used on quite a lot of our builds. We've turned that into a custom app that we can roll out to a lot of our merchant stores and makes it super simple. But that's a really basic example of what we could actually do with it. And it's all about creating that robust environment for developers and agencies to go and build something that you can reuse easily across multiple stores. With account extensibility as well, I think that's going to be a really exciting piece. I see Andre in the chat was in here before, and we're building quite a bit there around account extensibility for that build. There's some really exciting stuff on the way.
Yeah, cool. I'd say probably to wrap up, if I was to say one last thing that we didn't touch on too much on the deck, probably the most exciting thing within Shopify at the moment too is Shopify Flow. And we're just finding every day we're doing new things in there, and the flexibility that Shopify Flow offers. If you've got a problem to solve, it's almost now a case of jump in there and solve it there first by default. And if you can't do it in there, then you look for other solutions. But everything from sort of micro functions like tagging products based on inventory being low, right through to even we're building out like full integrations with middleware now, where you can actually send all the API payload through to through to an ERP now, and it's just so powerful. It's got full access to the Shopify API. We can build extensions like extra triggers and stuff for it as well. And there's just so much you can do in there, and I think it's probably almost the most undervalued part of Shopify now. It's been slowly building for probably, I don't know how many years it is now since its launch, but
forgotten child a little bit. It's been bubbling away in the background, but it's become so powerful for us.
And it used to be like it used to just be like I call it like just a dead end tool. Like I used to go in there and spend 15 minutes trying to find a solution or problem. You'd always hit a dead end where it wouldn't have the action you needed or wouldn't have the trigger you needed, or the two apps that are integrated with it are integrated but don't talk to each other. But those dead ends are disappearing more and more. And there's even just stuff like unpublishing your products that don't have inventory, or publishing products after they've had all of their content uploaded to them. So almost using Shopify like a PIM and doing some of that automation in there, which I think is really powerful and I think great as well, because I think most PIMs are kind of over complex and a bit of a waste of money. It's maybe a bit of a strong way to put it, but like if you're in the Shopify ecosystem, you want to be managing all that stuff within Shopify, and Flow is allowing more and more of that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Doesn't look like we've got any other questions at this stage, so I think we can wrap up there. Hopefully, everyone's found some useful little nuggets from listening to me and Martin ramble for an hour. So, if anyone's got any questions on anything specific that we've talked about today, feel free to reach out to either of us, and we'd love to have a chat further about anything. Yeah,
absolutely.